What in God's name is that?
That is Trammell Stark's Jumpin'. That is a song from the Weather Channel. 1996 jam. The Weather Channel had a series of music from like 95, 96, 97, 98 that they would recycle a lot. They would replay with the weather on the 8s, the local on the 8s. And this dude, Trammell Starks, did so many songs for this. And this is like, you've heard me talk about Weather Channel music a lot on VG Empire or here. And this is one of those songs where I've like, this has stuck with me for so long. And these other songs that he has called like Smooth Sailing, Life, Good Times. Look them up on YouTube. I'll do probably a VG Empire someday about these. But like, this is like 1996, my freshman, sophomore year of high school. I would I had a VHS tape. And anytime Weather on the 8s came on, I would just hit record. And I would just go. And this one is, Jumpin'. But like this same dude, Trammell Starks, he has... all these different songs.
This is more Weather Channel. The other one was too extreme for weather.
That's the way love goes.
A little bit. So, like, this is a song called Life. These songs are so good. But, so all this is going somewhere.
All right, I'll try again, Wave Race.
In your eyes.
Yeah. Good old days. This is great.
So this is when you're looking back at the old weather. Like, this is last week's weather, looking back at the good old days.
Now this one sounds familiar to me.
Yeah.
Try to get... Here we go.
This is me, like, looking at that bottom scroll, like, where's my school? Where's my school? Where's my school?
Where's my school closed? So, I say...
I do not know that world.
Yeah, no.
Well, because weather was a big deal in the Midwest, Northeast. Like, you gotta... It's snow, it's rain, it's like you gotta worry about storms and shit. So, like...
What did they have to write out the whole word Montessori? It's taking up too much space on the ticker.
So the reason I mention this is because over the break, I went home and the ending of this story made me very sad. But basically what happened is I knew I had this giant pile of VHSs. So starting around 95, 96, I had a VCR. I mean, I had a VCR before that, but like I would just always have a tape in. And anytime anything came on TV, I would record it. I would just hit record. So I have these super schizophrenic tapes, and I think over a dozen.
I saw the ones you bought. You posted a picture.
So those are just actual VHSs. Like it's in Humanoids, it's Ernest.
You've never gotten rid of any of them.
No. I still, they're all in a duffel bag, so like they're not doing anything. But like these are like blank tapes you'd buy at a store, and I would fill them up with the most random shit, and it would range from like earlier on in like the early 90s. It would be like you can't do that on television. Clarissa Explains It All, and then it would jump to Alf or Star Trek, and then by the time 96 and we had cable, it was just. It's madness. It's just there's no theming at all. But I do have one that starts with the Marvel Action Hour, which is that thing I put on Instagram.
That looks amazing.
Which is this animated opening for the Marvel, the Iron Man and the Fantastic Four cartoons that has the Inhumans and Daredevil and all this stuff. I don't
think I've ever seen animated Daredevil before.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
He was on a couple episodes of Spider-Man.
That's right, he was. But I was like, I don't know what's on any of these anymore. But if you want to imagine a tape. Multiple, over a dozen, that are just like, imagine someone in the 90s who thinks everything is interesting and is just recording everything. So it is, this tape is Iron Man, an episode of Iron Man, an episode of Fantastic Four where Thing and Hulk fight, then 2 hours of Weather Channel songs, and then Tekken 2 endings, Do the Urkel, and then more Weather Channel. And so this is like 96, 97. Then I have a tape that is like, me beating Lost Vikings, Sonic 3, playing Ninja Gaiden 2. It's very video gamey like that.
Wild and Crazy Kids, Donkey Basketball.
Oh, man. You know it. And then there's one, it's like, here's another example where it's like, it starts with my friend and I in a basement, in my basement, playing with toys, or I'm like,
Sexy, I like
I'm
it.
like doing a story with Iron Man figures that is unpresentable. And then it cuts to, or driving around trying to harass people on the street by yelling like stupid shit at them, and it's incomprehensible. You can't understand what we're saying. And I made them all listen to Earthworm Jim music, and they're yelling at me because they're like, this is stupid. Then it cuts to Men in Black commercial, a Mug root beer commercial, the Mug Love Train commercial where the dude's like pulling all the levers. Wallflowers the Difference video, the Akira TV spot, which is the guy going like Japanese animation. Provocative and raw, starting with Akira. Yeah, it's
Were they advertising a home video?
They were
of Akira?
advertising like sign up for this Japanimation VHS, and it starts with Akira, and it went from that to a Radiohead interview for Paranoid Android, multiple Face-Off TV spots, Sugar Ray Fly.
So you were intentionally just recording TV spots for Face-Off.
Yeah.
Like you just see it come
because
on?
I'm like, that's a cool movie. And there's a commercial for it. It's a thing I like, and it's on
but
TV.
the commercials were like, I love this commercial, or was it just like I'm taping something and
the
these are the
Love Train
commercials?
root beer commercial? I understand.
It's
Because I
just
was
'cause-
just thinking about that the other day.
It's because also like I was following summer movies a lot, so it's like I know one day it'll be cool to have a grab bag of like, hey, there's a Disney Hercules spot followed by
I never would have thought that, but I do. Me and my sister watch just '90s commercials on YouTube.
Yeah, and then so this is '97, so "End is the Beginning" is the end video from the Smashing Pumpkins. Real Big Fish Sell Out.
Yeah.
Dennis Miller making jokes over photos, which was the show we had at the time.
Dennis Miller live on HBO.
Yeah.
His pre-rant.
Yeah. MTV News about the first Lilith Fair, I believe.
Nice.
Meredith Brooke Bitch. MTV The Grind dancing to White Towns, You'll Never Be Your Woman. A pre like Fox News becoming Fox News thing on Fox News just about Mars. And it's just Fox News before they felt they had to draw the lines.
About the war on Uranus.
No, not yet. Price is Right playing Plinko. Sheryl Crow, A Change Will Do You Good.
Wow. This is like the montage they show during Clockwork Orange. Like random stuff just to make people go
a
crazy.
Star Fox 64 commercial.
I'm John Lovitz, and I'm here to tell you about Star Fox.
The Generation Next Pepsi commercial.
Okay, I like that one.
The Spice Girls?
Yeah. Jewel Foolish Games video. An episode of the Mega Man cartoon. A Batman and Robin interview with Chris O'Donnell talking about how he's going to be Robin forever.
Wow.
Like, just random shit. And that tape ends with Simpsons episode. And it, like, meanwhile, Simpsons clips just show up randomly.
Yeah.
Because I'm just, like, throwing them, like, oh, it's this episode.
You're recording moments and not
Yeah.
just the whole show.
It's a Robot Chicken-esque
almost brilliant.
for 6 hours.
You did not have your own dedicated Simpsons tapes, though?
I did.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
His was like on reruns. That
And
you
then,
record.
out of nowhere, a Fleischer Superman cartoon. The first UPN station ident in my neighborhood.
Nice.
And then the Chex Quest commercial to mail in to get Chex Quest through the mail. So that's just one tape.
Wow.
I'm talking dozens of these things. Or at least a dozen.
Wow.
I spit a little. So this gets us through to 98, 99, and I'm taping random stuff, the same bit. Like, here's a Godzilla commercial, whatever.
For the 97 movie?
98 movie, yeah. So then we get into, this would be 2000, I found a tape. It's like, we took a trip to Branson, so it's filming some of that, hanging out in a parking lot. And then we get to, I'm taping snippets of Dragon Ball, like the Perfect Cell Saga, when that was airing on Cartoon Network in fall of 2000. It has the commercial for when they were going to debut Endless Waltz for Gundam Wing,
Whoa.
December 22nd, 2000.
Toonami.
And I was super excited. So there's all kinds of vintage Toonami when they were sending fan art in a pre-internet, like internet was around.
Pre-internet, we don't have inventory commercials
Yeah,
to put here.
yeah, and it was just like, it's not pre-internet, I guess, but like, here's just 4 minutes of just fan art on broadcast, well, not broadcast, but like
Yeah, but
television,
cable television.
cable TV. And I'm like, I wonder, I know so many random fan artists now. I was like, please let me recognize one of these
if
names.
anybody you listening drew some of that, we have to know.
If you got aired somewhere in December of 2000, I might have your clip. But then that moves on. So this has been encapsulating all of the 90s. It's like I'm totally in that mindset of like, man, 90s were so much going on. It's X-Files, it's Friends, it's wrestling was big. Everything was big. Like everything was hot, right? Game commercials. Games are becoming super mainstream because of PlayStation, GoldenEye, and things like that. Like all this stuff is on all these tapes. And then 2000 is like, yeah, Gundam Wing. Anime is getting huge in America again on just television. You don't have to be a weirdo to find it. It's just everywhere. And then I remembered National Geographic was airing the decades
stuff.
thing about here's all the 80s.
saw it too.
They did one for the 90s. And I happened to just watch the last 20 minutes of the 1999 episode. And it's all about Y2K and like what that was really like, which was also weird because my niece asked like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, right.
So embarrassed.
That was 7 years before you were alive.
so embarrassed.
So
my
then-
roommate had a bunker.
And yeah, so they talk about the bunkers, but the way they ended with 99, I'm like, I didn't even think about that. But they're like, yeah, man, 99, it's like everyone's making a ton of money. The stock market is going nuts.
Do no wrong.
.com is actually, it hasn't burst yet. It's flying. We have almost no debt. We're not in any organized war with anyone.
We're on the most American trajectory ever.
It's like everything looks pretty good, and Y2K didn't blow up. So 2000 starts with like we're doing pretty good. Yeah. And then I have this tape of like, oh yeah, Gundam and Dragon Ball and Tenchi and Tokyo, and like, oh yeah, man, 2000. Then I get to a tape that is labeled stress management. Because my last semester in college, I took a BS stress management class because like just filling out the credit hours. And I had taped like a bunch of stuff, like here's the stuff I use to like de-stress. And it was Daily Show. And I had curated a bunch of bits about the Daily Show. And this is Colbert and Carell when they're still hosting.
Even Steven.
Yeah, hang on. Let me turn down the weather scan here.
I'll turn it up. Because I forgot that you liked the Daily Show that much. Because I referenced a very small thing in the Daily Show that no one should remember, and you did. When the Muppets were bought by Germans.
Oh, dude, that skit is hilarious. I have it on here.
It was awesome.
Yeah, when it first aired, I
have some guy screaming "Rainbow Connection" in German at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, and it like superimposes tanks and stuff in the swamp. Yeah, I lost my mind at that, and that's what started me taping Daily Show. This is all like early 2001, and so it's just bits about like, as an example of like, what is a top like the top story of the Daily Show for the last 15 years has been some political something.
Yes,
and in this case, it was there was an Indy 500. They had to shut down a race because it was too fast, and that's the lead story. And they just make fun of, and there's a segment called Other News because there's just time to fill. So like David Tell has a segment. So like 2001, it's about survivor jokes, mad cow disease.
I remember Steve Carell like one of his stories like, I'm going to go work as a toll booth operator for a day. There was no politically charged anything.
Yeah. No, almost none of this has anything to do with anything. It's all just. Here's things. Daily Show. Buffy's moving to UPN, and that's like
season.
That's a segment.
Wow.
They fill a thing with Buffy is moving, and pre-Enterprise Trek news. When they knew there was going to be a new Star Trek, but didn't know it was going to be called Enterprise, they're just like making fun of Star Trek and making fun of nerds. Rachel Lee Cook is on for Josie and the Pussycats. Kids get hit by the cars because of a bunch of Jackass imitators. And they have this great segment with Carell, Colbert, and Nancy Walsh, Carell's wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're making fun of like the media's like circus style approach to like they just keep playing the clip over and over again of this kid getting hit by a car. And I was laughing my ass off. And so I'm watching all this and I'm like, man, this was like, Daily Show before it went off the rails with, and I loved it all the way through. But it's like it used to just be like.
Before it became important.
But yeah, it was just like, here's a bunch of funny stuff.
Yeah.
And when there's no YouTubers and internet to really just hammer that home every day, it was like, this is where you got random weird news.
True.
And then, and there's a lot of great clips in here. Pet Sedentary about people who freeze-dried their pets. So many good, and I think all these clips are on their Comedy Central site. Then Kevin Smith comes on for, what's his name from Flash? Who is the reverse
John
Flash?
Wesley. Oh, okay. Yeah, Tom Cavanaugh.
He was on for Ed.
Yeah.
And he is so young and so nervous. But anyway, next thing that comes on is blah, blah, blah. And then Kevin Smith comes out.
Dogma, I'm guessing?
No, it's 2001. So it's Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And as I'm watching this interview, I'm like, wait a minute. This is August 2001.
Oh no!
I hope the next thing on hard cut to day 9/11. Wow. When no one knows what's going on, the buildings are on fire. Here's the live footage of the tower falling. Here's the people throwing themselves out the window.
Holy shit.
Here is the people on, like announcers just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to talk. Like it's everyone losing their fucking minds.
Wow.
And then then that goes on, and I just kind of watch entranced because I'm like, I haven't watched this since it happened. It's so intense. We joke about it all the time now.
CNN on their website on the 10th anniversary, I believe, they played the whole thing as it happened, and I'm like, I could watch that, and then I would never stop because I remember being there and watching it live and watching the towers fall.
I remember flipping between every channel.
Yeah, and every channel because Viacom owns so much. It was like there is no Daily Show. I was taping this on the Daily Show.
Oh,
and like Weather Channel, I think was this. MTV was this. It was like
that.
There was like
Daily Show changed their intro. They didn't do Dog on Fire. It wasn't reverent. It was just like,
it was sad.
Jon Stewart cried.
So it goes like it's all 9/11, and then it cuts to September 12th, and it's like the stock market completely cratering, and then they say like we think it was terrorists, and we think it was these people. The tape ends. Rewind.
Oh no!
And that is the last tape.
Who did it?
That is the last tape I ever did this with.
Really?
Because after that,
Your innocence died?
I moved. Well, no, because I moved. I didn't have time. Like I worked more shifts for Toys R Us, and then you graduate college, and then blah blah blah. But it's like that's all that shit I just told you. All of my childhood. You can't do that on television. All these tapes, these dozen plus tapes I have that are schizophrenic, fun '90s things, and then that Nat Geo thing talking about how great the '90s ended, and it's like. It all ends with 9/11.
This could be an art exhibit.
That is how my tapes end. And it's like, this is the end of not just the 90s. This is the end of America as it used to exist. Because pre-9/11 America is a very different place.
Yes.
And since then it has become obsessed with who's to blame. And who can we go after? Because someone has to pay for insert problem. Someone's got to pay for it. Whereas... Before that, we weren't at there was like Kosovo, and there were things we were involved in that were questionable, but it was like there was no war with someone. So
semi-noble peacekeeping missions, or like to avert war.
But no, it changed.
It's just like, but since then, it's like super divided more than it's ever been. Everything is hot button. Everything is an issue. You're either with us or against us. It's like, and that's how the tape ends. Is before we even have a plan of how to react to this. It's like. Trade centers destroyed, people died, we don't know why. But it's like those tapes end and it's just a hard smash end to like, and this country was never the same.
That was the beginning of me becoming politically aware, and not to say terrorism worked, but it kind of did. Because I don't think we embarked on many things politically or even...
It derailed the whole country.
Even globally without understanding the consequences of everything we do.
I mean, Weather Channel didn't do music after that.
They did, but it's not as good. It's not as good.
I remember watching the last Daily Show before. I watched vividly the last Daily Show before 9/11, the Monday night episode, because it had They Might Be Giants on it. And I was so excited to see my favorite band, They Might Be Giants. And they talk about how, like, yep, our new album coming out tomorrow, September 11th. Cool. Like, it was before September 11th.
Wasn't it Severe Tire Dam? No, it wasn't Severe Tire Dam.
No, I think it was their...
That's at Twin Tower Records.
Can I also just reiterate that this is on the tape labeled Stress Management?
Yeah, what a great way to end stress management.
Like,
did you label the tape before you started making it?
Well, I had to submit it for the class.
And then you just kept...
So your submission was like a juxtaposition?
No, because I graduated that community college in 01. So, like, it was... The Daily Show stuff was, like, the first half of the year. And then when I got through the class, I was like, well, I'm still just going to keep recording Daily Show bits. And then it ends, and then because I was doing slow play, tape's only 2 hours, so it just ends and does the VCR thing, where when the tape ends, it turns itself off and starts rewinding. And I'm like... That is such an
odd feeling.
Powerful metaphor. And it's like 2:30 a.m. and I'm in my house and it's dark and it's cold now. And I'm just like, God damn, like that really did completely derail the entire country and in a way the world from what the 90s kind of left us with.
Yeah.
Which was a surplus, money, and like everything can't be pinned on that, but
you
it's
can
like...
do no wrong.
It's
all
just
that cool 90s stuff, and then just ends.
Well, I mean, and then like whatever.
Well,
the whole don't trust the government thing, like don't trust people, like that's an X-Files thing, and it's like that went away because you have to trust the government.
It's
Otherwise,
so weird to go back and watch the pre-9/11 X-Files. Be like, oh yeah, that's right. We were afraid of the government for these reasons.
I didn't think about that. How long did the X-Files go after 9/11?
Only like a year.
Yeah.
But
it's
like, did it change at all? Could they for that? First couple months, can they pretend what they're caring about is important?
Isn't like the plot of the Lone Gunman, the first episode, is people trying to...
This was a couple months before, though. Like, the show ended before.
Yeah, the show ended before 9/11 happened, but the one of the episodes of the 13 made of the Lone Gunman spinoff is what the conspiracy theory says 9/11 is, which is like the government controls a plane and makes it crash into a building as a reason to go to war with oil-rich countries. That's the plot in that Lone Gunman episode that predated, and it is the World Trade Center in this. Yes, yeah.
But at the end, the plane is averted, and the plane narrowly misses.
It's a happier ending on Lone Gunman.
But I didn't want to get hung up on 9/11, but it was just such a
magical.
Whoa, because it was like every cut of this of all these tapes were like, wow, it's that, and I was like taking pictures and taping and posting Instagram stuff and like, this is great. And then when I saw Kevin Smith walk out, I'm like, wait, August 01.
When you said that,
oh shit.